Hello, 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 Marietta here. How y'all doing today? It is really been really hot here in South Carolina, as I'm sure it is a lot of places all over the place. And I have really been in the house, y'all. Y'all keep me in y'all prayers because I have my coffee because I am dealing with a summer cold. But as I'm dealing with a summer cold, I got a phone call and someone was talking to me about what I thought about the situation of renting rooms in somebody else's house. And so that's what we're going to talk about, renting rooms in somebody else's house. Um, okay, I had to set my phone, y'all. I was just setting it for a piece of information that I had pulled up online as we talk about this issue about renting a rooms in somebody else's house and what that might look like. How that situation could be a good alternative to what is going on right now in the world, and how it could help somebody be able to get themselves back on track and be able to save some money and to be able to not be by themselves and to be able to even build compatible friendships and things of that nature. And you really got to think about the fact of what it costs to live in somebody else's house and how you actually can benefit from the situation. I mean, I look at it as if it could be a win-win in some situations. In some situations, it could become a nightmare. So if you've ever rented a room in somebody's house, take this time and opportunity to share with us in this video about what that looked like and what you went through in the process of that. If it was good, share that. If it was bad, share that. Share whatever you choose you want to share. But we do want to talk about renting rooms in somebody else's house. Now, I'm going to give my honest opinion about how I feel about renting rooms in somebody else's house. First of all, you got to be really careful who you rent the rooms to. You got to really be in a place where you have really did your homework in this area, in this situation, and knowing the laws in your county or whatever of renting rooms in your house, and to make sure that you write up a good lease agreement so that you will be covered in any situation, every situation, as far as the legal aspect of you renting your room, so that you'll know that you'll be covered no matter what goes on in that house. That first of all, you got to make sure the house is being respected, and that whoever you rent to respects you in your own space. And it could be very beneficial for the person that's renting the room and the person that is the homeowner itself, and the person that's actually going to rent the room. That person can benefit tremendously because of the savings that they could save from having to pay for a place by themselves. And the person that owns the place can benefit as well, because it would also help them in their financial situation, I'm sure. And when I think about renting a room, I think about the fact of what comes with that renting of that room, and the aspect of the amenities that come with you renting that room. I mean, I know the prices should vary from space to space, from wherever you are, what city you in, what town you in, what area you're in. All that can play a big part in how much you rent that room for. As I'm thinking in my mind, if and so you're living where you may have a luxury apartment, golf courts, and swimming pools and things of that nature, I'm sure you're closer to the city, you're closer to the happenings, as they put it. Whatever is happening in the world, you're closer to whatever is going down, and you're easy access to the highway and things of that nature. You're a hand away from wherever, as they say, where life is happening. I'm sure those places will rent a lot more, maybe even anywhere. I'm going to say, just throwing a figure out there, if you know any different, I'm thinking in my mind, probably anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800 it could be to rent a place in a rental room of that, in that type of environment. And then you might go where it might be not as busy, and you might can get a room probably even $900, maybe $1,000, or you might can just go out to a rural area where it's just straight country, maybe like where I am out in the booty somewhere. You might can get a room in somebody's house that might be renting a room for $700 to $800. $700, $800. I mean, there's no more that $400 and $300 deals going down as I know of. There's none of that. You got to be in a place where you be willing to pay something and be willing to help somebody as somebody helps you. So I'm thinking in my mind that if we thinking about renting a room, I'm thinking that you really need to do your homework, and you, even as the person that's going into this house renting a room, you need to do your homework as well and find out what you can about the house that you're renting to go into, and the people that are actually going to be in that house, and what the rules and regulations of that house are. Are you having a private bathroom? Are you able to use the kitchen? Are you able to have guests over? Are you able to use the common areas of the house? What are the common areas of the house? You got to go and sit down and actually talk to the person that owns the house and figure out exactly what it is they're offering with this room. Because see, a lot of people think that when they rent a room, it's almost like some people have been disillusioned that they rent a room. They want to rent the whole person's house, and they overstep their boundaries. They want to bring people. They want to have overnight guests. They want to do all kinds of crazy things that are not even part of that. You renting a room. You rented a room for you. You did not rent their home. You did not rent space for your girlfriend, space for your boyfriend. You did not rent those spaces. You did not rent for people to walk all through these people's house and disrespect them. How there's got to be some ground rules, some boundaries that got to be set in these situations, or they can go real bad, real fast. I mean, real fast. So it'd be a place of not only sit down and have them talk about these things. They need to sign a lease agreement, knowing where their area is and what the common areas of the house are, because that is still your home. You still have to live there. You still have to pay for this home. You're renting a room trying to do a good service, but sometimes if you don't do your homework and you don't write that thing up right, it can become a nightmare, because sometimes people don't respect your space. Even if it comes down to pets, are you allowing them to have pets in their room? Put it in writing. Let these people know exactly what it is you're offering them when you offer them this room. If and so you feel as though that they can't have but one car, put it in writing. You need to let them understand, as the landlord, as the homeowner, what it is you're offering them when you offer them this room. Because a lot of people don't understand exactly what it means when you say, I rent a room. Or they do understand it, but once they get in there, they'll overstep their boundaries and they'll forget all about what it is that you had to say, and they'll start moving in a way that they want to move their own way and do their own thing. And that's where it becomes a nightmare. And it's not beneficial to nobody when people act like that. So I just got to thinking about this situation, and I said, if we start talking about renting of rooms right now, and we start putting this situation out here, it might give some folks some ideals that they will put, get their wheels turned and say, well, I'm paying $1,800 for this place, and it's just two of us. Let's go rent a room. Let's go rent a room from somebody, or let's just rent a room and we can get maybe cut that in half, and we can save some of that money to be able to do other things with, to be able to begin to build our life, and to begin to be able to save some money for the hard times that are coming down the road, and begin able to, as they say, prep for what's coming. But I got to thinking about the renting the room aspect, and I really don't know anybody that actually went into this situation. I personally never have rented a room from anybody, but I really think that that is a good alternative for today, for what we're going through today, and for how people are moving today, and what we're seeing with the high cost of rents and people getting evicted, and with the housing being in a crisis. I think renting a room from other people would be nice, but I got online and I started looking around to see if there was a lot of rooms for rent, see where rooms were being rented at, and those are the prices I came up with. But I don't even see a lot of rooms being for rent, and I think people are being more cautious now about how they're moving and who they're letting in their home, who they're letting in their space, and they should be. They really should be. And since people have gone to living in cars and vans and things of that nature, I think it would be more suitable and more comfortable if they were to rent a room, and to be able to be more safer if they was to rent a room and get themselves in a place where they can be more stable. Because even if you rent a room, at least if you pay your rent, you rent a room, and you can get inside that room and be stable in that room and know where you're going to lay your head from night to night, and you're not out there wandering around and moving from space to space. I think it'll be a lot more safer for you, and a lot more safer for everybody involved. And I think it's so that you won't have to be so stressed out or worry about, for your job. If you're working from home, you'll have a home to be able to work out of, and make that room your space. Just respect the person that's renting you that room. Respect the fact that that is still their home. Respect the fact that that is still their property. And I think if people would look at other people's things like that and respect other people's stuff, I think renting a room would be a great idea. I think renting a room would be something that I would probably look into myself in the future. Because all of y'all that know it's just me and my son. My son will be grown soon, and I may not want all this space I got. You have a lot of space, and then you might not want all that space. You might want to get rid of all that space, and you might want to go rent a room somewhere. You might want to just go size down and have smaller responsibilities. You might not want all the responsibility you have of a bigger place. And then you might want to rent that place out. And it's the same thing. Renting rooms, you can take that house and rent a room, rent all the rooms out, and look at the income you could benefit from if you rent all the rooms out. But then you got to make sure that the people inside the house and respect each other's space, respect each other's time, and things of that nature. I just feel as though that it would be a win-win for everybody involved if it's done right, and it could go smooth if and so you get the right people with the right frame of mind in that house to be able to rent those rooms, and everybody respect everybody, even with the kitchen. I mean, because you got to realize some people have food allergies. Some people don't eat the same thing. You got to give them a space in the refrigerator, or are you just renting them a room and all they get is a room and a bed, and they don't get to use any other part of the house? Sometimes I've heard of people saying that they rent a room and all they got was the room and they had to eat out. You know, or they had to have a cooler, or do you allow them to have a refrigerator in the room? Do you give them any amenities at all? Do they get a refrigerator? Or you can allow them to cook in the room? Can they have a microwave in the room? These are all things that need to be done. Or you set the room up and you rent the room already furnished, set up the way you want it to be set up. I mean, I really believe that right now renting a room would be a lot easier for a lot of people, especially our college students that can't afford to pay to live on campus and things of that nature. And even then, like I said, if you're not a person that can deal with teenagers, or young folks, put it that way, because they're more than teenagers, they're young adults. If you can't deal with them, you can't rent a room to them either, because sometimes they can get a little wild. So I just want y'all to start thinking about renting a room. If and so you're out there and you got some rooms that you would like to rent, or are you really interested in renting them rooms? And chime in and tell me, why is it you don't want to rent a room? Why is it you would never rent a room out of your home where you live at? Or have you ever did this before? I mean, it's something new to talk about, but I think it's something that needs to be talked about, because I think it could help a lot of people right now in this season that may not have a lot of money to work with, that may not have a lot of money to go pay first month's rent and security deposit and third month rent and all this money they want you to come up with to actually move into an apartment right now. A lot of people don't have all that $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 to walk through the door. They don't have that kind of money to walk through the door in nobody's place. But they may have $700 or $600 or $800 to rent a room in your home. So I think if you're actually thinking about renting a room in your home, I would say just do your homework. Make sure that you do what you need to do safely to know who you're putting in your home. And then just go forward with it, because if it don't work out, the worst thing that could happen possibly is that, they have to leave and you just have to start all over and find somebody else to put in that room. But let me know exactly what y'all think about this. Chime in on it, because I'm not too diverse about what it is to rent a room or what the prices are or whatever, but that's what I was thinking in my mind. I was thinking in my mind that it would be anywhere between that price of $1,200, $1,800, depending on where you at, or anywhere between the low end, the high end $1,800 and the low end $700 to rent a room in the U.S. today. So if you think it's higher than that or lower than that, please chime in. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear it. So with that being said, I just want to thank y'all for listening, because it is something that really, really needs to be spoke about. And if you stayed here this long, please think of subscribing to the channel. We're trying to get to 10K over here. We're doing a great job, and I love each and every one of y'all. And if you've been here this long, please turn your notification bell on so you will be notified when I do my next video. Thank you for listening, and I truly appreciate you.